Hi, this is Larry Hatch. I'm the horticultural taxonomist at cultivar.org, and we're the sponsor, and I hope you'll give us a look because we have the largest encyclopedia of houseplant varieties ever created. Thousands and thousands of cultivars with big screen-filling pictures, accurate descriptions, source links, history of them, uh, keys for identifying different cultivars if you're so inclined, and so on. So today's topic is Fittonia cultivars, the best of the best. And as near as we can determine, there's about 67 named cultivars, not all of them distinct, but they're different names. And I've probably grown about 30 of those over the years. And before I forget about this, treat your Fittonias like Coleus. They're kind of cousins in a sense. Um, and they can be grown outdoors as tropical bedding plants, just like Coleus can. And so I would highly recommend that you try that because this was back in, I think, 88, 87, 88, somewhere. I just got the idea, like, I'm tired of all these house plants. I'm going to put them outside in containers. And I bought these beautiful, nice planters that held maybe 10 gallons or so, nice wooden planters. Just filled them full of good potting soil. Threw a lot of house plants like Syngoniums and Fittonias and Coleus out there. Guess what? The Fittonias, these suckers grew to like 12 to 18 inches tall, just like the Coleus would, and not quite as tall in all cases, but for plants that I thought were dwarf and little tiny cute pot plants, holy heck, these Fittonias took to the heat as long as they were watered. And my God, they just like branched out. They flowered. They did all kinds of cool stuff as outdoor tropical bedding plants. And by the way, if you have rare ones, put them outdoors, and you'll have 9,000 cuttings by the end of fall. Now they're not cold hardy, of course, like Coleus, but and that was the same summer that I tried that. I had a Syngonium elbow variegatum. I could not give that sucker away. That thing was literally 3 feet by 3 feet, a massive shrub. It was a shrub. And I couldn't give away cuttings to that, so I just gave away the original plant and probably threw away $1,000 worth of cuttings. That just shows how the world changes. Anyway, Fittonia is a species, a single species. It was usually called Fittonia, as we have here. This is a very old botanical plate. It was called Argyria or Argyrofolia or Versifeltii. You know, for many, many, many years, we called this species Fittonia versifeltii, and some of you went to the trouble of learning how to spell it. Well, according to the experts, taxonomists at Kew Gardens, and by the way, their website is plantsoftheworldonline.com. They are the authorities in tropical plant nomenclature, and they say the correct species name, the oldest, best name, is Fittonia albovenus. Albivenis. Albovenus or albovenus? Probably albovenus sounds better. Anyway, meaning white veins. Hey, so we lost the versifeltii. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's not. If you learn to spell it. But it's now back to albovenus, and those are the cultivars we're going to talk about today. There have been, like I say, about 67 cultivars over the years, and one of the earliest ones was this compact one called Minima, tinier leaves, and I shot this here at the Biltmore Conservatory in Asheville, North Carolina. It's a great plant. It's still great. Lots of white, maybe not any more white than typical, but it's a dense compact plant. Forms these like kind of tabletop like mounds. Is that a great house plant? Look at right. That's a very old cultivar. Soon they came up with pink vein ones and red vein ones. We think they probably came out of the wild, that color pigmentation, but nobody's really sure at this point. We've started to develop other new colors. This is Mosaic Lemon, so we're starting to get some yellows in them. Yellows combined with the white veins, yellows combined with the red veins, And this is Mosaic Lemon, like I said. Another good one that I like here is, God, why can't I read my stuff? I'm sorry. Can't even read my file names. This is Mosaic. Um, heck. This is Mosaic White Tiger. And you can see how beautiful it is. It's got a extra dark green background, what we call forest green. And that gives, of course, the white veins even more contrast than normal. And these veins are pretty wide. Wide vein is an interesting thing. Gives you more contrast. And it's probably about a 50-50 cream to green there. But you notice that the very fine branches of the veins are white. Not just to a couple of levels. These are actually white down to the tertiary or quaternary level, and they're wide compared to the original Alba venus. So this is a pretty good one too. I think this white tiger's got a whole lot of promise to it. Another one that I really like is White Star. White Star is almost completely white in the new growth with a dark undulated, thick green margin, and then it becomes heavily veined white later on. You know, expect this one to be 98 to 90% white most of the time, and it's what we call a fasciated leaf, meaning that it's kind of fan shaped with everything kind of fused together. This next cultivar is one that I really like. It's from Ball Horticulture, and they are the owners of this, and they provided this image copyright with their copyright for us to use, and it's called Flaming Fire. It's got heavy red veins, true red veins. Well, let's call it scarlet. Little orangish red in there. Call it scarlet, crimson, if you will. And it's probably about 70% of the surface is red, becoming less so, but it's got a super dark green for contrast and a very distinct green margin in most of the leaves. And I think that's a good one. It's not a perfect one. It's got some pale green zones on it, but overall I think it's interesting. It's not really that uniform, but it's another thing. This other one here, this next one is Mosaic Skeleton, and some people have called these green and gold, or I mean red and gold. And I think if you see them on eBay and Etsy, they're just not recognizing the patented and trademark names. I'm pretty sure this is the same one. It's a very bright lime, and in the new growth, it's actually pretty yellow with red veins. And so yellow with red veins is kind of a new thing. But the correct name of this particular patented plant is Mosaic Skeleton. And like I say, I think people are just kind of selling it without a name, hoping wink wink they'll get away with it. Some people just don't know what the stuff's called. But if you're in the commercial business, you are responsible for doing your research. And by the way, a trademark and a copyright, a trademark and a patent violation, you don't have to make a single cent. You sell the plants for nothing, give them away, you're still legally liable as a commercial grower or seller. Even if you sell 5 plants a year, you're still legally can be fined for that. And those are some pretty darn big fines. And people say, oh, well, nobody does that. Yes, they do. I've known entire nurseries that have been shut down and had tens of thousands of dollars in plants confiscated and burned. You ask around, it does happen. So please do not sell these trademarked and patented things commercially. You cannot do that. It's bad business. It's like somebody stealing your book or something. You'd not, or your song, your great song. You'd not feel too happy about that. This next one is sold by Costa Farms. It's called Leatherleaf. It's a very thick leaf. Lots of white and cream on the veins, and a lot of nice dark green background. The veins are distinctly arc-shaped, or what taxonomists call arcuate. And if you look in the middle of the leaf, there's not a lot of branching of the veins. So most of the venation is down to the secondary level only, and only as you get towards the edge of the leaf or older leaves do you get that tertiary venation or reticulation. You probably heard of reticulated pythons. Reticulation means like a net pattern, and that's of course what Fittonias have, a reticulated venation. But this one, leatherleaf, kind of interesting because it's a slightly different vein pattern. This next plant here is one that I've seen around under a lot of different names. I'm pretty sure it's all the same thing. It sometimes is called Fortissimo, with varying amounts of kind of a coral pink vein. Sometimes the new leaves are just a pink midrib, and that's it. This is a selected clone of it, apparently. It's called Fortissimo Bubble Red. And like I say, it doesn't have finely branched veins. And it's kind of a curious, almost olive green color as the leaves mature. And that bright coral pink, which is not really a red, it just gives a different look to it. So that's a really good one. Whether you buy it as Fortissimo or Bubble Red or Fortissimo Bubble Red, it's just something interesting for the collection. Now, of course, as happens in the plant world, people select and breed for extremes, darker things, lighter things, brighter things. This is one called Black Star, and you can occasionally find it in the box stores. It's a super dark blackish green, but it's really more of a forest green. It's not really black, and has super bright contrasting coral red veins in it. Down to the secondary level, but you see the branching of the veins is somewhat sparse and often connects them in a reticulated pattern, but it's not a heavy venation. It's kind of a very deliberately sparse venation. But that black color, holy heck, that's incredible. Let's see here. Our next one is another one from Ball, and credit Ball Horticulture for this picture. This is one called Flamoola, Flammula. And first I saw it, I didn't like it, but when I grew it, I said, well, that's not a bad thing. It's actually a pretty light, kind of light lime green with maybe some chartreuse in it. And the veins are a fairly dark pinkish red. It's not the prettiest thing, but it's different. And if you put it next to Black Star, holy heck, it does look very pale. So that one is that. This next one is one of my older things from the 80s. This is a cultivar called Anne, Anne. Very, very ornate, complex, coral red to near red venation on a dark green. It's a very wide leaf too, and if you look very carefully, you can see one of the leaves actually has a lobe on it, and they do have some teeth too, some serrations. But look at those complex veins. I deliberately shot this in the dark with a flash because I wanted the colors to pop a little more, and that's what happened. So it's not going to be quite as dark as this, perhaps. But look at those patterns of those interlacing reticulated veins. Holy heck! Just complex as all hell. If you had to count those, you'd go crazy. This is another one of my older pictures from our cultivar trials in the. I think this was probably around 83 or so. This is called White Brocade, and I got this from Costa Farms Exotic Angel in a box store, and that thing grew like a weed, like a coleus outdoors. Super dark green, like Anne, very complex venation down to the tertiary level, which is the third level of order. Beautiful plant. Again, I shot this in the dark with a flash to make it pop a little bit. I think I probably wish now I had shot some regular pictures, but you get the point. Um, this next one here um, is called Zomstar, Zalm Star. It's another one of the fasciated ones where the leaves are all kind of fused together with a very pointed apex, and that kind of condenses all the venation and colors into a smaller leaf, a very thick leaf. And this is in light pink. You can get those fasciated leaves in red and white. This is a light pink one, a little different, but I think it's got some merit. Let's see here. This next one is called Snowin. It's apparently a whiter version of Anne, the red veined one. I don't know. It's actually more of a solid white in the new growth, and then later it gets really super complicated, ornate venation like Anne. It's a nice leaf. The leaf is almost round. It's so wide. We call it ovate suborbicular if you're looking for a term. And that's kind of a nice look too. Um, and these are my best of the best. There's a lot more of them. There's 67 at least out there. This is one called Forest Flame, which has got a lot of attention. That's another kind of fasciated leaf where the leaf is sort of narrow and fused, and you get all the colors kind of concentrated. It's kind of a dusky red, kind of a dusky pinkish red, with a dark green margin. There's better pictures of it than this, but it shows a lot of color. And again, we don't have a lot of houseplants of this color. There's some epichyas and bromeliads and so on, but this is a really nice color to have in your collection. This other one is very distinct. Again, it's a fasciated leaf, but in this case, it's a much narrower leaf, and it's very undulated or rippling or wavy. It's called Super Red. Again, there's a whole series of newer cultivars that have a narrower leaf, narrowly elliptic leaf. But this one, the undulations of it are just amazing, and for most part, it's kind of a silvery, almost metallic pink. And as you probably know, if you're growing a lot of these, you get a lot of metallic tones in these things. They're very beautiful. But Super Red is a Super Red, and I just love those wavy dark green margins with a pink metallic center. This Super Red is a super winner. Um, let's see here. We talked about Forest Flame earlier. This is White Forest Flame. Look at that leaf. It's almost feathery. Again, it's a fasciated leaf, and that kind of pushes all the veins together in a fan-like order. And you can see how everything is kind of like pushed together into a narrow, feathery shape. But look at those beautiful silvery, white to ivory, even creamy veins. But if you look carefully, the base color, the margin, is not a super dark green. It's almost a dark olive green, and that makes for a beautiful color. And if you look, it's got a lot of olive tones in the green, which I think looks great with that venation. And I really think White Forest Flame is another classic, very easy to identify cultivar that we probably need to learn more about. Here's another one that I like. It just came about. I've never grown it. It's called King's Cross. It's another super ornate, super white. New growth is almost greenish silver or greenish cream. And then it kind of settles down to a really complex pattern of white. And you'd almost say it's not white veined, it's almost green spotted at that point. Because only the interveinal, the spaces between the veins are green, the rest of it's white. And as the leaf matures, it gets more and more and more and more green. But I think that's a beautiful leaf, and it's got big wavy teeth on it, which makes it great. It's a wide blade. and the blade kind of hooks a little bit, kind of recurve down. And together with that waviness and those big teeth, I think King's Cross is another really nice winner. The next one is one you're seeing out a lot now. I think it's called Jolly Joseon, Josan. Some people just call it Joseon. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And it's what I call a super red vein, very dark red veins, very wide red veins. And if you look carefully, those veins look almost like they're raised on the surface. They're just really well developed to the tertiary level. But the veins are so wide that it gives it a very different look. Here's one that I grew in the 80s. I think it was late 80s. This one is called Stripes Forever. Now, somebody has told me that Stripes Forever is really a white one with variegation, a real chimera. But all these plants that I bought at the box store from Exotic Angel, were called Stripes Forever. And if you look at it, it is definitely striped, cream and pink and whatever. So I'm staying with this original name since it's the oldest one applied to this plant. Again, it's a fasciated leaf where everything is kind of fused into a narrow fan shape. Really complicated margins. It's very irregular. It's not a uniform plant, but I'll tell you, back in the 80s, it was a very distinct departure from the cultivars. Down in the comments, please tell us what your favorite cultivars are and why, and how you tell them apart. That's helpful. Now, we don't want people naming stuff and putting wrong names on it, because that just creates more chaos. But, if you get stuff that comes with a name, please buy stuff with a name. Or you can raise your own seedlings of these things and come up with your own cultivars, just like coleus. It's not that hard. Really not that hard. So in the comments, please share and let us know what you think. And these are my best of the best. They might not be yours. They probably won't be. But these are kind of what the future of the species looks like. Fittonia albovenus. Thanks for your time.